Joanna Krupa, the Polish-American model and actress, has long been vocal about her beliefs in compassion, kindness, and universal understanding. Can you imagine if everyone shared her vision? In one of her powerful statements, she expressed a deep wish: pray that everyone can share the same vision as the Dalai Lama. Our world would be filled with kindness and compassion, not hatred and jealousy. Just think about that for a moment. What would it be like to live in a world where love, rather than resentment, was our natural response? Where our first instinct was to build others up instead of tearing them down? Krupa's words echo deeply with the teachings of the Dalai Lama, a tireless advocate for compassion and ethical living. And they reveal her dream of seeing a world truly transformed by these ideals, ready to make compassion the norm. Subscribe channel and take your first step towards a better world. The Dalai Lama's vision of compassion and universal responsibility. The 14th Dalai Lama, Tenzin Gyatso, has dedicated his life to promoting peace, compassion, and tolerance. His teachings transcend religious boundaries, inviting us all to adopt a universal ethic based on kindness and respect for all forms of life. And isn't that something we all desperately need today? According to him, compassion isn't just a lofty ideal, it's a necessity, essential to our shared humanity. He says, love and compassion are necessities, not luxuries. Without them, humanity cannot survive. These are not mere words, they're a call to action. The Dalai Lama speaks of universal responsibility, an idea that each of us is connected to others and the planet. How often do we pause to reflect on how our actions, even the smallest ones, can ripple through the lives of those around us? This interconnectedness is at the core of Buddhist philosophy, which teaches that all beings are interdependent. The welfare of one affects the welfare of all. What kind of world could we build if we fully embraced this truth? Every act of kindness, every moment of compassion, adds to a collective web of harmony, creating a chain reaction that has the potential to change everything. Imagine waking up in a world where kindness is the default. Where each interaction, no matter how brief, is filled with genuine care and consideration. This is the vision that the Dalai Lama encourages us to hold, a vision that Joanna Krupa passionately echoes. It's a vision where humanity rises above petty conflicts and division, recognizing that our strength lies in unity, and our future in compassion. Why compassion and kindness matter. Compassion isn't just about making others feel good, it's a transformative force that lifts both the giver and the receiver. Imagine how different the world would be if we all approached each other with empathy. Science, too, tells us that compassion has incredible benefits, reducing stress, improving our immune function, and making us happier. Isn't it fascinating that, by helping others, we end up healing ourselves? People who regularly practice kindness often report feeling more fulfilled and connected to those around them. Could it be that the key to finding true happiness lies not in what we have but in what we give? Embracing kindness helps us create inclusive, resilient communities. Kindness nurtures a sense of belonging, something so many of us long for, especially in a world that sometimes feels increasingly isolating. Acts of compassion make us less judgmental, more understanding, and more capable of celebrating diversity. Just imagine a society where differences are embraced, not feared. Wouldn't that be a place worth living in? Kindness has an incredible way of breaking down barriers. It's hard to hold on to anger, prejudice, or mistrust when someone extends a hand in kindness. Imagine two people from opposing backgrounds. Maybe they come from different countries, maybe they hold different beliefs. A simple act of kindness between them has the power to dissolve those barriers, even if just for a moment. It's in those moments that real understanding and peace are born. On a larger scale, compassion has the power to bridge divides, cultural, political, and religious. It's the glue that binds us despite our differences. When leaders and citizens alike act from a place of compassion, they sow the seeds of peace rather than conflict. The Dalai Lama believes that a compassionate world is a peaceful world. What if our leaders, instead of seeking power, sought understanding? What if their primary goal was to alleviate suffering rather than to win at all costs? Consider the conflicts that rage across the world today. So much of the pain and suffering that we see is rooted in a lack of understanding, a failure to recognize the shared humanity in those we consider other. But compassion changes that. It allows us to see beyond the labels, beyond the stereotypes, to the person who, just like us, wants to be happy, wants to be safe, wants to be loved. Joanna Krupa's call for a compassionate world. Joanna Krupa's words strike a chord with the Dalai Lama's teachings, and they remind us of something we sometimes forget: we all have the power to create change. Her call for a world filled with kindness and compassion instead of hatred and jealousy speaks to a fundamental human yearning. Don't we all want to live in a world where we feel safe, loved, and understood? As a public figure, Krupa has used her platform to promote compassion, not just towards people, but to all living beings. Her advocacy for animal rights, environmental conservation, and ethical treatment of all beings aligns beautifully with the Dalai Lama's call to extend compassion beyond humans to include all sentient beings. Imagine for a moment the impact we could have if we took that idea to heart, if we extended our compassion not just to those in our immediate circle, but to all beings. Animals, the environment, the entire planet, all deserving of our care. Joanna Krupa's advocacy for animal rights is a reminder that compassion is not limited to our species. It's a call to recognize that all sentient beings have a right to live free from suffering. Krupa's statement is also a powerful reminder that building a compassionate world isn't a task for the few, it's a collective effort. Imagine if more people embraced the Dalai Lama's perspective. Could we overcome the divisions that fuel hatred, conflict, and suffering? In a world that often seems fractured, her vision of kindness is a call to action for each of us to play our part, however small it may be. What if we all took responsibility for the energy we bring into the world? Every interaction, every choice, every word, they all contribute to the kind of world we create. Joanna Krupa's call is for each of us to step into our power, to recognize that we are not powerless bystanders but active participants in the shaping of our world. The choice to be kind, to be compassionate, is a powerful one. And it's a choice we can all make, every single day. Practical ways to cultivate compassion and kindness in daily life. So how do we start creating this world of compassion that Krupa and the Dalai Lama envision? It's not about grand gestures or heroic acts. Sometimes, the simplest actions have the most profound impact. Here are some practical ways we can start making a difference. Active listening. How often do we truly listen to others, without interrupting, without judgment? Active listening is one of the simplest yet most powerful ways to show compassion. By genuinely trying to understand someone's perspective, we foster respect and empathy. Imagine how our relationships could transform if we all listened just a little more deeply. Random acts of kindness. Why not brighten someone's day with a small gesture, holding the door open, offering a genuine compliment, or simply smiling? These seemingly trivial acts can have a ripple effect. Spreading positivity. You never know how much a small act of kindness can mean to someone. Could a simple smile change the course of someone's day? Perhaps even their life. Practicing gratitude. When was the last time you paused to feel grateful? Gratitude opens our eyes to the beauty of life, making us more aware of others' needs and more willing to help. Keeping a gratitude journal, where we jot down even the smallest things we're thankful for, can shift our perspective and make us more compassionate. What if gratitude became a daily practice for all of us? How might that change the way we see the world? Self-compassion. Isn't it strange that we can be so kind to others but so harsh with ourselves? Extending compassion to ourselves, forgiving our mistakes, embracing our imperfections, helps us cultivate a more resilient, positive mindset. Self-compassion isn't selfish, it's necessary. How can we truly be kind to others if we cannot be kind to ourselves? Volunteer work and community service. Volunteering is a powerful way to connect with others and make a meaningful contribution to society. The joy that comes from helping others is unlike anything else. Isn't that what life is really about? Whether it's helping at a local shelter, cleaning up a park, or simply offering your time to someone in need, volunteering can be a profound way to spread compassion. Mindfulness and meditation. Practices like mindfulness meditation help us become more aware of our thoughts and emotions. Cultivating empathy. The Dalai Lama himself advocates for meditation as a path to greater compassion. Could dedicating just a few minutes each day to meditation help us better connect with others? Meditation isn't just about finding inner peace, it's about understanding our shared humanity. By integrating these practices, each of us can contribute to a world where compassion is the norm, not the exception. Imagine a world where everyone made an effort, however small, to be kinder, to be more understanding. What kind of ripple effect could that have? The global need for compassionate leaders. In today's world, where challenges like inequality, environmental crises, and conflicts loom large, we need leaders who embody compassion and kindness. The kind of leaders who, inspired by the Dalai Lama's teachings, create policies that prioritize well-being and justice for all. Compassionate leadership fosters patience, understanding, and collaboration, qualities that are essential for resolving the complex issues of our time. Imagine a world led by compassionate leaders. Leaders who put the needs of the many before their own ambitions. Leaders who listen, truly listen, to the voices of the people. Leaders who recognize the importance of empathy and understanding. What kind of policies might such leaders implement? Would we see an end to unnecessary suffering? Would we see a world where the environment is protected, where inequality is addressed, where peace is given a real chance? Joanna Krupa's hope for a compassionate world emphasizes the importance of these qualities in leadership. Imagine if our leaders prioritized the needs of people and the planet over political gains. Wouldn't that set an example for all of us to follow, inspiring a wave of ethical conduct and positive change? But compassionate leadership isn't just about politicians and those in power. We all have the capacity to lead, in our families, our communities, our workplaces. We can all lead by example, showing others what it means to live with compassion. Imagine if compassion became the standard by which we measured leadership, not just how effective someone was, but how kind, how empathetic, how understanding. Wouldn't that be a powerful shift? Embracing a compassionate future. Joanna Krupa's message invites us all to imagine, to dream, of a future where kindness and compassion guide our actions. What kind of world could we build if we chose compassion over competition, kindness over jealousy? It's a world where people act not only for personal gain but for the welfare of others, where humanity's survival depends on collective goodwill, in a world where so many feel disconnected. Joanna Krupa's vision serves as a reminder of our shared potential to create positive change. What if we chose today to make compassion our guiding principle? What if we decided that kindness was more important than being right or getting ahead? The more we align ourselves with these values, the closer we come to creating a world filled with understanding, peace, and joy, a world where, as Krupa envisions, kindness and compassion triumph over hatred and jealousy. The journey begins with each of us. Through our collective efforts, we can bring this compassionate vision closer to reality. Will you be part of that journey? Imagine a future where our children grow up in a world that values kindness over competition. Where compassion is celebrated as a strength, not a weakness. A world where the headlines are filled with stories of people helping one another, of communities coming together, of leaders making choices that benefit everyone, not just a select few. This is the future that Joanna Krupa envisions, and it's a future that we all have the power to help create. The ripple effect of compassion. The power of compassion lies in its ability to create a ripple effect. One act of kindness can inspire another, and another, until the impact is felt far beyond the initial gesture. Think about the times in your own life when someone's kindness made a difference. Maybe it was a stranger who helped you when you were lost. Or a friend who listened when you needed to talk. Those moments of compassion have a way of sticking with us, don't they? Now imagine if each of us made a conscious effort to create those moments for others. What if we all took responsibility for being the kind of person who makes a positive impact, however small? The ripple effect of our collective compassion could be extraordinary. We could create a world where kindness is not the exception, but the rule. Where compassion is not seen as something extra, but as an essential part of who we are. This is the vision that Joanna Krupa holds, a vision where each of us recognizes our power to make a difference. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the challenges we face. To think that our actions don't matter. But the truth is, they do. Every act of kindness, every moment of compassion, adds to the collective effort to create a better world. The role of compassion in healing. Compassion also plays a crucial role in healing, both individually and collectively. On an individual level, compassion helps us to heal from emotional wounds. When we are compassionate towards ourselves, we allow ourselves the space to grow, to learn from our mistakes without being weighed down by shame or guilt. Self-compassion is a powerful tool for resilience. It helps us to bounce back from setbacks, to keep going even when things are tough. On a collective level, compassion has the power to heal the divisions that exist within our society. So much of the pain and suffering that we see in the world is the result of a lack of understanding, a failure to recognize the humanity in those who are different from us. Compassion bridges that gap. It allows us to see others not as enemies, but as fellow human beings who, like us, want to be happy, want to be safe, want to be loved. Imagine what the world could be like if we all made an effort to understand each other a little better. If, instead of judging those who are different from us, we approached them with curiosity and compassion. What kind of healing could take place in our communities, in our countries, in our world? Compassion has the power to bring us together, to help us find common ground even in the face of our differences. The connection between compassion and happiness. It's often said that the key to happiness lies not in what we get, but in what we give. And there's a lot of truth to that. Studies in psychology and neuroscience have shown that acts of compassion and kindness can actually improve our mood, reduce stress, and increase our overall sense of well-being. When we help others, we help ourselves. Isn't that a beautiful irony? Think about a time when you did something kind for someone else. How did it make you feel? There's a sense of fulfillment that comes from knowing that you've made a positive impact in someone's life, even if it's just in a small way. That feeling is something that money can't buy. It's the kind of happiness that comes from knowing that you are part of something bigger than yourself, that you are contributing to the well-being of others. Joanna Krupa's message is a reminder that true happiness comes not from accumulating wealth or power, but from making a difference in the lives of others. It's a reminder that we are all connected, and that our happiness is tied to the happiness of those around us. When we choose to act with compassion, we not only improve the lives of others, but we also improve our own. Compassion as a source of strength. There is a misconception that compassion is a sign of weakness, that to be compassionate is to be soft, to let others take advantage of us. But nothing could be further from the truth. Compassion is not a weakness, it is a strength. It takes courage to be compassionate, especially in a world that often seems to value power and dominance over kindness and empathy. To be compassionate is to be strong enough to care, even when it's difficult. It's to be willing to put aside our own ego, to see the world from someone else's perspective. It's to be brave enough to reach out to others, even when we risk being hurt. Compassion is not about being passive, it's about taking action to alleviate the suffering of others. Joanna Krupa's advocacy for compassion is a testament to the strength that lies in kindness. She uses her platform to speak out for those who cannot speak for themselves, animals, the environment, those who are vulnerable and in need. That kind of advocacy takes courage. It takes a willingness to stand up for what is right, even when it's not the popular thing to do. Compassion is not about being weak, it's about being strong enough to care. Creating a culture of compassion. What would it take to create a culture of compassion? A culture where kindness is celebrated, where empathy is encouraged, where helping others is seen as the norm rather than the exception? It starts with each of us. It starts with the choices we make every day, how we treat others, how we respond to those in need, how we choose to use our voices and our actions to make a difference. Imagine if compassion was taught in schools, if children were encouraged from a young age to think about the needs of others, to practice empathy and understanding. Imagine if workplaces valued compassion as much as they valued productivity, if employees were encouraged to support one another, to work together for the common good. Imagine if our communities were built on a foundation of compassion, where neighbors looked out for each other, where no one was left behind. Creating a culture of compassion is not an impossible dream. It's something that we can all contribute to, in our own way. It's about making compassion a priority, about recognizing that our actions, no matter how small, can make a difference. It's about choosing to be kind, even when it's not easy. And it's about inspiring others to do the same. The power of compassion in times of crisis. In times of crisis, compassion becomes even more important. When people are struggling, when they are facing challenges that seem insurmountable, a simple act of kindness can make all the difference. Think about the times when you've faced difficulties in your own life. Wasn't it the compassion of others that helped you through? During the COVID-19 pandemic, we saw countless examples of compassion in action. People coming together to help those in need, neighbors supporting each other, healthcare workers risking their lives to care for the sick. It was a time of great suffering, but it was also a time when the power of compassion was on full display. It reminded us of what truly matters, not material wealth, not status, but our connection to one another. Joanna Krupa's call for compassion is especially relevant in times of crisis. It's a reminder that we are all in this together, that our well-being is interconnected. When we choose to act with compassion, we create a sense of solidarity, a sense of hope. We show others that they are not alone, that there are people who care. And in doing so, we help to create a world that is a little bit brighter, a little bit kinder, even in the face of darkness. Conclusion: Joanna Krupa's message is a powerful call to action for all of us. It's a reminder that compassion is not just a nice idea, it's a necessity. It's what makes us human, what connects us to one another, what gives our lives meaning. The Dalai Lama's vision of a world guided by compassion is not an unattainable dream, it's something that we can all work towards, one act of kindness at a time. Imagine a world where compassion is the guiding principle, where every decision, every action, is made with the well-being of others in mind. It's a world where we recognize our interconnectedness, where we understand that our actions affect not only ourselves but everyone around us. It's a world where kindness and compassion triumph over hatred and jealousy, where love is stronger than fear. The journey towards that world begins with each of us. It begins with the choices we make every day, with the way we treat others, with the way we choose to use our voices and our actions to make a difference. Will you be part of that journey? Will you choose compassion? Will you choose kindness? The world that Joanna Krupa envisions is within our reach. It's a world where compassion is the norm, where kindness is celebrated, where we all work together for the common good. It's a world that we can create, if we choose to. So let's choose compassion. Let's choose kindness. Let's create a world that we can all be proud of, a world where, as Joanna Krupa dreams, kindness and compassion truly triumph over hatred and jealousy. Will you be part of that journey?